Catch me if I fall.
Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live as we're beginning the run-in. It is now a race to the finish line for all of these 20 teams to see where they will end up after 38 games. 9 match weeks over the next 8 to 9 weeks, and we will have a joy in watching it unfold in front of our eyes. To get us underway, we have a big clash for two sides hoping for European places here at St James's Park to get another Premier League weekend underway. Newcastle against West Ham United. Some huge matchups as well this weekend, including Aston Villa Wolves, Brentford Man United, Liverpool Brighton, and the huge one on their last one of the weekend, Manchester City against Arsenal tomorrow afternoon. And that is going to be one to really get your teeth into and to really enjoy tomorrow afternoon. It is going to be a cracking weekend of Premier League action here on LFS. We have 3 live matches for you, including this one, followed by Liverpool Brighton tomorrow at 2 and Manchester City against Arsenal at 4:30. So the title race is on, the race for Europe is on, the battle against relegation is on. There is so much on the line, and we start with a race to the finish line with this game this afternoon. Let's have a look at today's teams. We start with Newcastle United with Martin Dubravka in goal. A back 4 of Tino Livramento, Jamal Lascelles the captain, Fabian Schär and Dan Burn make up the back 4. A midfield 3 of Bruno Guimaraes, Sean Longstaff and Joe Willock, with an attacking front 3 of Jacob Murphy, Anthony Gordon and Alexander Isak. On the bench, Karius, Ritchie, Hall, Dummett, Kraft, White, Barnes, Anderson and Almiron. For David Moyes' Hammers, who come to Newcastle United after being drubbed here last season, Alphonse Areola starts in goal. A back 4 of Vladimir Sofal, Konstantino Mavropanos, Kurt Zouma the captain and Emerson Palmieri in defence. A midfield of Thomas Suchek, James Ward-Prowse and in a more advanced position Lucas Paquetá, with a front 3 of Mohamed Kudus, Jared Bowen and Mikel Antonio, who leads the line. On the bench for West Ham, Fabianski, Johnson, Ogbonna, Cresswell, Earthy, Phillips, Mubama, Ings and Maxwell Cornet. 2 teams looking for European places. 1 in 7th, 1 in 10th. Very little to split them. The race for Europe is on. Kick-off from St James's Park is next. Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live, our first of 3 live commentaries for you this weekend on LFS. We start in the northeast as Newcastle host West Ham United. We have some cracking fixtures in the Premier League over the next day or two, and we will keep you up to date with everything that happens across the Premier League. Our referee this afternoon is Rob Jones, and VAR is David Coote. As we get ready to get underway at St James's Park. You just get an aerial shot of the pitch. Newcastle in their traditional black and white striped kit, and West Ham United in their normal kit as well, their home kit of claret and blue. And we're underway then. Newcastle get us going for another Premier League weekend. The race to the finish line begins here. 8 or 9 games to go for some teams. Some even have 10 to go. These two have... West Ham have 8. Newcastle have 9. And this is going to be a wonderful run-in. There's so much to talk about from the Premier League. So much to look forward to over the next few weeks. And how exciting it will be to just keep an eye and just watch it unfold in front of our eyes. This dramatic end to a Premier League season. a mad title race, a race for top 4 as well, European places, and a relegation battle that keeps giving twists and turns all the way throughout. There is not a single moment where you can take your eye off Premier League action, because you will miss huge moments towards the end of this season. And some big fixtures this weekend, which we'll talk our way through right through the stream this afternoon. Great to have you with us this lunchtime for this one. Been a busy few days back on LFS after the international break. Had a rest, recouped, and yesterday we got back on the way with some championship action. But Premier League is where we wanted to be, and this is where we are today. And both of these two teams, they're desperate for European football. How they would love it. Both sides in not bad form before the international break. West Ham unbeaten in their last 4 games. Newcastle have won 2 out of their last 5, which isn't particularly good, but it is an improvement on what they were doing previously. Here's Anthony Gordon for the first attack for Newcastle. Down the left-hand side, breaks into the box. Gordon with a chip across and a scramble there, and the ball goes down. It's a penalty. Clumsy challenge by, I think, Vladimir Sofal. Comes clattering into Anthony Gordon, and Rob Jones, the referee, has no hesitation in pointing to the penalty spot. What an awful decision by Vladimir Sofal. It's as easy as you like. Anthony Gordon breaks down the left, looks to chip a ball across, it's cleared away, and then as Vladimir Sofal comes back to try and kick the ball clear, Anthony Gordon gets in front of him and he takes him down, does Vladimir Sofal, and it's as easy a penalty as ever. Clumsy as you like, totally unaware as what's around him, and he just swings a leg out, and he will pay the ultimate price. A penalty to Newcastle United inside 3 minutes. Who will take it? I'm guessing it will be... It looks like Jacob Murphy standing around the penalty spot, but they are checking for a possible offside VAR just to confirm that it is a valid attacking phase of play and that there was no infringements, no issues. Just see this again. Ooh. It's close, this. It's whether Guimaraes plays the ball. Not Guimaraes, Schär, sorry. Plays the ball. I think he plays it forward, which means that Anthony Gordon would be offside, because he was in an offside position when the ball was played by Fabian Schär, which I think would mean that this decision might get overturned. We will see. If Fabian Schär plays the ball deliberately forward, Anthony Gordon would be offside. But that's where they're deciding. Is it deliberate by Schär, or is it a deflection? If it's a deflection, offside doesn't count. If it's a deliberate action from Fabian Schär to kick the ball, then it is offside and there will be no penalty. If it's only a deflection, then the offside will be irrelevant and it will be a penalty. The thing is, when the ball was played, whether deliberately or not, Anthony Gordon was in an offside position. That's the difference. That's why we're waiting for a significant amount of time here. Rob Jones getting information from David Coote, the VAR. So we will see. And the decision is a penalty. So it stands. So VAR have deemed that was just a deflection of Fabian Schär, not a deliberate action to play the ball, therefore meaning that the offside is irrelevant. So therefore it's a penalty to Newcastle. A perfect start to this game it could be. Alexander Isak to step up to try and give Newcastle the lead inside 5 minutes. What a perfect start this would be for the game. Isak stepping up and finds the bottom corner. Slots it in off the inside of the left post, Alexander Isak, and slides away in celebration. Newcastle United off to the perfect start. What a way to get return after the international break. West Ham look a bit leggy. Vladimir Sofal's concentration wasn't at the heights in giving the penalty away initially. And Newcastle take an early lead. West Ham duly punished for their lack of concentration. Areola sent the wrong way, and Isak fired it off the inside of the post. And it is 1-0 to Newcastle United. I'm just seeing a replay of the incident again, but there's no issues. VAR deeming it a non-deliberate action, therefore the offside is not a factor. Here comes West Ham again. And down the attack there, played it straight out of play. Michael Antonio for a goal kick to Newcastle United. Well, Newcastle, when scoring first this season, have won 12 of those 16 games, lost just 2, and drawn 2 as well. 12 wins out of 16 when scoring first this season is a good record, and one that they'll want to extend as well, and keeping that stat going. Well, one thing, Newcastle have only lost 1 of their last 9 Premier League games against West Ham. 4 wins, 4 draws, and that was a 4-2 defeat at St James's Park in August of 2021. 1 defeat in 9 is a very good record. Although they were denied victory in the reverse fixture, of course, Newcastle, with Mohamed Kudus' 89th minute equaliser. It salvaged the 2-2 draw for West Ham at the London Stadium. West Ham a much stronger side now as here they come forward. Nice move by Kudus there. Gives it out to the right hand side. Finds Jared Bowen who can run it down. Burn with his outstretched left leg puts it out for a West Ham throw, which they try and take quickly and catch them out so far there. And Burns there again to put it behind for the corner. Instant response from West Ham United. That's what they need. They cannot be waiting around. They cannot be delaying and kind of messing about. They want to react quickly. Jared Bowen to take this corner. As Bowen whips it in, front post, headed away by Jacob Murphy. Recovered on the left hand side. Paquetá with a delivery. Zuma was there, but it cleared away again by Newcastle. Paquetá again. Played it forward. Nice cross in from Emerson. Cleared away. And Newcastle clear their lines once again, but that was good pressure from West Ham. Crosses from the left hand side. All dealt with by Newcastle, but clearly an idea of what West Ham want to do from that position. Putting crosses into the box. Here's Zuma. Looking to switch it for Sofal, but intercepted, and Newcastle now have space with Anthony Gordon to break down the left hand side. Sofal retreating. Played it in field now. Willock across to Longstaff. Now out to Jacob Murphy. Back to Sean Longstaff. Trying to thread it through. Oh, and the shot from Isak is over the bar. And that gets a round of applause from the home crowd. That was a good move. Just as overstretching it was Sean Longstaff. Couldn't reach it. And it fell to Isak, who struck it first time with his right boot. But was leaning back and a bit too much power in it. Carried it over the bar for a goal kick to West Ham United. I'm expecting the goal scoring not to end here, because here comes Bowen. Now finds Antonio. Good defended by Newcastle initially there. Jamal Lascelles took a real knock off Mikel Antonio there. And Rob Jones has gone over the referee to have a chat and make sure he's okay. He's going to get a bit of treatment here, Jamal Lascelles. He fell quite awkwardly. See this again. It's the way he fell. Yeah, it's kind of the back of his right leg that Antonio collides with, and it's a painful one that for Jamal Lascelles. He is receiving treatment at the moment. Just to run you through the rest of today's games course, because we'll be back streaming tomorrow for the double header, but we have 7 other Premier League games this afternoon. Bournemouth take on Everton at 3 o'clock at the Vitality. Burnley head to Chelsea. Nottingham Forest face Crystal Palace, as Forest, after their 4-point deduction, look to escape the relegation zone this afternoon. They'll need 3 points to do that. Sheffield United take on Fulham. Sheffield United all but down really, but you never know. Any hope, maybe. Tottenham face Luton at 3, as well as Luton trying to evade Nottingham Forest. Spurs looking to chase down Aston Villa, who play at 5:30 this afternoon against Wolves, who are also chasing European places. Wolves at this moment in time, Wolves sitting in 10th. We're 9th before kick-off here this afternoon. Spurs also chasing as well Aston Villa, who are in 4th place. And then later this evening, Brentford against Manchester United. Brentford, who themselves, they're not chasing European football. They're just trying to avoid relegation at any cost. They're 5 points clear of relegation, and they want to try and do a number on Manchester United like they did last season. Destroyed them 4-0 early last season at home. They'll try and repeat that if they want to try and get themselves away from that relegation zone. Manchester United have their own tasks in trying to chase down Spurs, depending on their results. And then the 2 big ones tomorrow, Liverpool, Brighton, and Man City, Arsenal in the title race. In the Premier League, so it's a positive for the moment. At this moment in time, it's positive for Newcastle United, who it's been up and down this season. It's been injuries that have kind of ravaged Newcastle's season. That combination, really, having Champions League football for the first quarter of the season, really did affect them, and those injuries piled up at the start of the campaign, and that really destroyed the majority of what they've had this season, Newcastle. Just as we're talking about that, Jamal Lascelles is still receiving treatment as he's just held back to his feet by the physio, so he should be okay, but we will see as he gets a round of applause. He has the captain's armband today, Jamal Lascelles. The referee's just checking upon the player. He's hobbling towards the sidelines, so it doesn't look too good, but he is able to walk off his own accord, which is a positive sign, but it doesn't mean that he will be able to continue. It looks to be around the knee area, which is a concern as well, because it can be a very dangerous area to get an injury. He's wincing a slight bit. We'll see if he can continue. Just talking about those injuries, of course, Sven Botman out with a long-term knee injury, out till New Year's Day of next year. Long term. Lewis Miley out till the end, probably the end of the season. Callum Wilson to mid-May. Joe Linton out to mid-May. Nick Pope out to the end of April. Kieran Trippier out until at least next week. Those are the remaining injuries for Newcastle, and then of course the suspension of Sandro Tonali, which we saw being charged by the FA this week as well. But I predicted should be back for the start of next season as West Ham get the break of the ball. I thought they did there. The referee pulled it back. Lucas Paquetá trying to break into a nice area as Lascelles does get back onto the pitch then, which is a positive sign. It's good to see. Jamal Lascelles isn't majorly hurt, and he can continue. Anthony Gordon. It's not been full 15 minutes, although it says on the clock 15 minutes. It's been a very disrupted first quarter of an hour in this game, with a VAR check and an injury stoppage. At the moment there will be a lot of stoppage time at the end of this half, and we've only played 15 minutes. Really haven't got the flow of the game just yet. Here's Dan Burn. Almost caught out. Lovely footwork to skip away from Jared Bowen. As Guimaraes gives it back to Dubravka. Dubravka. I don't know what he's done there, but he completely hit it out of play for a West Ham throw. Which is an interest. Oh, he's not gonna continue here, Jamal Lascelles. Just I was wondering why they stopped the game there. For the West Ham throw. They're gonna make a substitution now, Newcastle, and Jamal Lascelles cannot continue. So after coming onto the pitch, after receiving treatment, he will not be continuing, Jamal Lascelles. He gives up the captain's armband and he's going to be replaced here. And it's going to be Emil Kraft that's going to come on in his place. So Kraft coming on for Jamal Lascelles. As I've already mentioned about those injuries for Newcastle, there's been a massive amount of those this season. Losing two huge centre-backs in Sven Botman and of course Jamal Lascelles and Kieran Trippier in the back four, and Nick Pope of course in goal. That's a massive, massive blow to your defence. Looks like they're switching it up a bit here, Newcastle. And we'll figure this out in a second, what the details are going to mean for Newcastle as they have the ball here with Guimaraes. That's a poor long ball by Fabian Schär, and allows West Ham on the spin. Antonio! Goodness me, hit it from distance there. Just over the bar for Mikel Antonio. Again, very direct from West Ham. Schär gives the ball away, played directly from Souček straight through to Antonio on the spin. Takes it out of the path of Dan Burn. Lost his balance initially and then just thought, why not hit it? Edge of the bit further away from the edge of the box and unleashes one with the left boot. Just too much on it and too high, and goes over the bar for Mikel Antonio. But that's more positive from West Ham. That's what they need to do. Be more direct from those positions. So David Moyes' West Ham has been so good at over recent years, recent seasons. And again given away by Newcastle. Ward-Prowse charging at the defence, but well recovered by Bruno Guimaraes to block off the England international in the run through there. And look at that stat. Most home clean sheets this season in the Premier League from Newcastle. 7. More than any of the rest. Fulham on 6. Liverpool and Man City both on 5. So Newcastle strong at home defensively. Here's Paquetá though. Out to the left hand side to Emerson. Back to Lucas Paquetá. See what West Ham have to offer and try and responding to that early deficit that they conceded from the penalty spots. Sofal to Mavropanos. Back to Areola. Going to spread it out to the left wing. Cleared away by Kraft. Now picked up nicely by Murphy. Finds Isak. Looking around the box on the spin is Murphy on the edge of the D. Plays it forward to Gordon. Gordon threads it through. And Longstaff couldn't get there. Back involved again is Gordon. From the edge of the box, looked to shoot there. Blocked by West Ham as West Ham try and clear it away through Kudus. Get it out of the defence. Get the ball forward. That's well defended by West Ham to deal with that threat from Newcastle. Kudus, nice break of the play to skip away from a challenge. Ward-Prowse to Paquetá now. Ball over the top from Lucas Paquetá. Antonio's in one-on-one. The flag stays down. Antonio with a cracker for a finish. One-on-one. The flag stays down. And West Ham are level. A Mikel Antonio goal right from his playbook. And Newcastle have faltered their lead. That high line has done them in this time. West Ham beat the offside trap, it seems. And they're back level. One ball over the top, in behind the defence, and Mikel Antonio there to latch onto it. See this again. Is he onside? Yeah, miles onside. High line, but there's a man out of position. I think it's Emil Kraft that just stepped back a bit and played Antonio miles onside. There's no question about offside there. But it looked far too easy. That's why I was a bit hesitant and thinking that's a goal, because I thought the flag's going to go up here. But it didn't, because he was quite clearly onside. And that is an issue at times with the lack of experience, the lack of cohesion in a defensive structure. When you play a high line, you need to be on top of your game, and you need to work in tandem, because if there's anyone out of place, any team can punish you, especially West Ham United, with the pace and power they've got on the counter-attack. And bodies with runners in behind, they have the ability to really pose a massive threat on the counter. And they have done so there. One ball over the top. West Ham are level. 1-1. Well, that's that whole stat of Newcastle having the most clean sheets at home this season out the window. Haven't kept a clean sheet here this afternoon. Kraft. Now to Guimaraes. Through the lines. Kraft on the overlap. Kraft with the ball across. Mavropanos to clear it. Not fully cleared. As fell well. Actually, the deflection and the ricochet helped out West Ham defensively as it broke away from all the Newcastle players. And Paquetá wins a free kick for West Ham United there. Now West Ham have lost just one of their last 6 games across all competitions. That's 3 wins and 2 draws. So although before that they'd failed to win any of their previous 8 before that run began, losing 4 and drawing 4 in that run. So they have turned it around, been a lot more positive results-wise for West Ham in recent weeks. Of course, we'll see how they deal with the run-in with European football in the mix. That's a lovely move by Newcastle. Here comes Gordon down the left-hand side. Gordon tried to curl it, but simple save for Alphonse Areola to deny Anthony Gordon a chance there. Now, Paquetá's gone down. He's holding his face for some reason. Should be fine. Getting back to his feet. Just see this again. Yeah. I mean, Guimaraes does kind of catch Paquetá in the face, but there's not much in that. Not much. Long ball forward from Mavropanos. Straight down the line. No one there to meet it. Newcastle get it away. Socek. Bowen does well. Antonio! Oh, Kudus, sorry. Took a deflection. I thought it was going to loop in. He got a hold of it, Dubravka. Very deceiving camera angle there. As Newcastle have it back again. This game could be anything at this moment in time. That's what we want to see. Goals galore. What a way to get us back going again in the Premier League. Match week 30 on Easter weekend. And a feast of football over this Easter weekend for you. Of course, Good Friday action from the Championship yesterday. This game today, then tomorrow the doubleheader on Easter Sunday. In the Premier League title race. Then on Easter Monday we've 2 more Championship games for you as the race for promotion continues. And then midweek Premier League action as well over Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. A full round of Premier League fixtures this midweek for you to really get your teeth into and enjoy 7 days of wall-to-wall football action. That's what we love at this time of the season. Every game matters, every game counts. And it just comes thick and fast, and that's what we love. We do have 3 games over the midweek. 1 game each night over the next midweek. Let's just have a preview of what those games are. Tuesday night, we're watching West Ham again. West Ham back in action on Tuesday night at 8:15 in the Prem. Tuesday night there at the London Stadium, they host Tottenham in a London derby. On Wednesday night, we have Manchester City hosting Aston Villa. What a cracker that's going to be on Wednesday night. We'll also be keeping an eye on Arsenal against Luton as well in the title race, and Brentford Brighton on Wednesday. And then on Thursday night, we have the lone matter of Chelsea against Manchester United on Thursday night, as well as watching Liverpool hosting Sheffield United as well in the title race. So some fine action for you this midweek as well to come. So you do not want to take your eyes off it. It is constant football that you're going to have to feast upon over the next 7 days. Here's Sean Longstaff for Newcastle. Gordon on the left-hand side. Followed all the way through by Sofal. Back to Longstaff. Now Gordon again, further infield. Plays it across to Guimaraes. She goes out to the right-hand side to find Kraft. Now Murphy. Kraft on the overlap. Murphy finds Guimaraes. Down the right-hand side is Kraft. Back to Murphy. Guimaraes on the spin. Just overstepped that one and allowed James Ward-Prowse to intercept as Kudus tries to run away with the ball. And Kudus pushed over there. Will get the free kick. Wanted to take it quickly there, West Ham. The referee said the ball was rolling, so couldn't take that free kick as quickly as West Ham would have liked there. And that gets a bit of a complaint from David Moyes on the sidelines. At times this could be a recipe for disaster. Really, Newcastle playing this high line and the amount of pace and power that West Ham have on the counter-attack could be a difficult day if Newcastle get their high line wrong, their offside trap wrong. Because here come West Ham again down the left. Kudus with a cut back. Bowen trying to lurk. But the flag goes up against Mohamed Kudus, which will be a firm, swift end to that West Ham United attack. Yeah, the ball forward. Kudus just leaned himself offside, made the run slightly too early. In behind. That's when the offside trap works at its best for Newcastle. So 29 minutes gone at St James's Park. It is Newcastle 1, West Ham 1. Isak opening the scoring from the penalty spot after 6 minutes. And Mikel Antonio with one chip ball in behind. 1-on-1 with Dubravka, and Antonio levelled it for West Ham United. Lovely ball by Isak. Spread of the ball. Finds Gordon. Space on the left-hand side is Anthony Gordon breaking into the box. Cuts it back. But only a West Ham body. But Bowen couldn't retrieve it. Straight back to Newcastle. In the middle. The ball comes out to the right-hand side to Kraft. Now Murphy. Looking up with Isak. Coming a bit deeper. Isak. Out to Kraft on the right flank. Has to go back to Scher. Willock. Burn to Scher, and now across to Kraft on the right flank. Right-footed cross in. Bit high, but Gordon does bring it down, and then Vladimir Sofal does well to just see it out for the goal kick there from Anthony Gordon. 3 points would be huge for both of these teams. 3 points for West Ham would put them level on points with Manchester United above them, but United a game in hand and still to play this weekend, so still at 6 points where they could open that gap again, Manchester United. But if West Ham win, they will be level on points after the full-time whistle. Newcastle, on the other hand, 3 points would be huge for them. They would be above Brighton in the table and go within just a point of West Ham United in 7th. So firmly kind of jigging themselves back into that top 4 or that European football race at the moment, which is quite tight, to be fair. West Ham on 44, Brighton on 42, Newcastle on 40, Wolves on 41. So it is a quite close race. Don't count out Chelsea or Fulham, who are 39 and 38 points respectively. It's not a done deal yet. Very far from it. That's the thing, there's a lot to play for. You know, you get to this point in the season and maybe at times there could be some things could be wrapped up and completed and confirmed, but it's all to play for. As here come Newcastle again. Willock lays it off to Gordon and tried to play it on for Joe Willock, but Willock didn't make the run, and Gordon's ball just rolls behind for a West Ham goal kick. Not on the same page there, the two Newcastle players. I make the point again, that West Ham goal from Emil Kraft, it's just that disjointed nature, that kind of swip-swap nature of the back four. They haven't had a consistent defence, and you cannot defend at your best. I mean, we remember Newcastle last season, they were one of the best defensive teams in the league because their defence was so solid and so consistent, and they were always fit. All 4 defenders were constantly always playing, and that really gave them that solidity at the back, you know, the confidence, the cohesion, the team spirit to know how to defend. But when you're swapping players and not everybody's sharp and not everybody's fit, and changing players, just personnel changes, is a big issue at times in defensive structures, because it could come down to knowing your teammates' movements inside out. That could be the difference. There's an issue here. Paqueta's down under a challenge from Bruno Guimaraes. Don't know what's going on. Paqueta's going to receive a bit of treatment here, I think. Seemed to be a bit between those two today, Lucas Paqueta and Bruno Guimaraes. A couple of times they've collided. Of course, Brazilian teammates, of course. Talking about that West Ham. We'll see how West Ham do this afternoon. Really, it will be fascinating. Well, the Hammers have now gone 10 games, Premier League matches, without a clean sheet, with only Sheffield United and Burnley having a longer run without clean sheets. Sheffield United 12 games without a clean sheet, Burnley with 11. Although they managed 4 clean sheets before their 10-game streak, when they last went 10 games without a clean sheet in May 2021. And they've just matched that this afternoon with conceding that early penalty. And Newcastle keep another record ongoing as we're back underway. One of just 3 sides, including Man City and Spurs and Newcastle, all 3 teams have scored in all of their home Premier League matches this season. Only 3 sides have scored in every single home game this season: Newcastle, Man City and Spurs, which is a record they continue to have after scoring this afternoon. West Ham have it here with Emerson to Zuma, across to Mavropanos. On the right hand side is Sofal, but there's no one to play it to, and Newcastle pounce on that one. Willock Lays it off to Isak. Isak across to Longstaff. Now out to the right hand side with Murphy. The cross comes in, headed on, and flashed wide by Anthony Gordon, who was the threat in the middle again. Good cross by Murphy. Nice header by Anthony Gordon. It's just unfortunate that it was off target. Good move down the right hand side, spreading the ball across the pitch, moving it nicely and whipping a ball in, and it's just unfortunate. He's got it narrow, beautiful header, and it just doesn't, it just escapes the accuracy of hitting the target, and it just goes slightly wide of the right post, ever so close for Gordon, and that would have been a lovely goal, but didn't find the back of the net, unfortunately. Newcastle, the second most goals from crosses, joint with West Ham, who have both scored 13 goals from crosses this season. Only Arsenal has more, with 17. Again, Paquetá and Guimaraes colliding again, which is another stoppage in this game. We've had so many stoppages in this first half. We're going to have about 10 minutes of added time. I mean, what's this? Oh, come on. They're both going up for the ball, and Paquetá just feels any sort of contact on his face and he falls to the floor. Oh, come on. There's no need for this. They have to have an inside joke or something. Like how many collisions they're going to have in one game, because that's so many. They've had 4 or 5 inside 37 minutes. Those two, they're competitive. And West Ham got the free kick. I don't know why, but they did. Ward-Prowse to take the free kick from deep. Ball into the box, headed away. Not fully cleared by Newcastle as Bowen striked it straight at Dubravka. Curled it, or forced it with his right boot towards the goal. And Dubravka got down, but it was Dan Burnham just reaching behind to try and get the ball headed out clear, and he couldn't clear it away comfortably as Gordon comes forward again. And it gets a corner. Shoots, deflected, corner. Again, it's that counter-attacking ability, moving it quickly, Newcastle. From Dubravka right up the middle. Isak plays the ball in behind. Lovely ball for Gordon to run onto. Down the left-hand side. Chops onto his right boot inside the 18-yard box past Sofal. Tries to find the far corner. It takes a deflection off the West Ham player. And out and behind for a corner to Newcastle. And an issue here for West Ham, it seems, because Lucas Fabianski is getting ready on the sidelines, their sub-goalkeeper, so we'll see what happens here. Whether it's an issue for Areola that he needs to come off, because it looks like to be that way. With Fabianski getting ready on the sidelines, as that corner comes to nothing as it runs for a West Ham goal kick. There at this moment. I mean, Areola looks okay. I'm wondering what's going on. Areola's ready to take this goal kick, but whether he will take it, I think he will. But he has, but Fabianski's tying his bootlaces on the sidelines, so it looks like West Ham are going to make a goalkeeping change. And Souček colliding there with Bruno Guimaraes. She'll give Newcastle a free kick here. And will be a yellow card for Thomas Souček as well to go along with it for his troubles. Yeah, Guimaraes, the ball, he plays the ball forward and Souček just literally comes in and just blocks him, stands in his way. Barges into him, and that's a yellow card for Thomas Souček. And a free kick for Newcastle. Just inside the West Ham half. Guimaraes will take. Straight up the middle. Away by Mavropanos. Kudus tried to clear it long with the long kick, but it's deflected back towards his own box as they clear it away now, West Ham, as Antonio tries to get them forward and Paquetá trips. Referee said no foul as Newcastle get the ball back. Play it long, looking for Gordon. Sofal's header back to his keeper, almost caught them out. Mavropanos was there quickly to clear it away. And Vladimir Sofal fires it down the line and out of danger for a Newcastle throw. West Ham seem a bit flustered at the moment. Newcastle starting to cause more issues and West Ham struggling to deal with it a slight bit. The aerial ball is really testing West Ham and they're struggling to really get a grip with it. Here's Livramento. Down the right hand side finds Gordon, Back to Livramento. Now Gordon again. Through the lines trying to find Joe Willock. But cleared away by West Ham instantly as they try and target Antonio. But can't keep it in play, Mikel Antonio. And holding the ball up, Newcastle will get another throw in. Still awaiting that possible substitution for West Ham. Swapping their goalkeepers. We'll wait on that in a moment because Fabianski is ready to come on. Just a matter of time before he does enter the fray. Has to be an injury. Here's Isak. Lovely spread of the ball out to the right hand side of Kraft on the overlap and not on the same page there. Emil Kraft and Jacob Murphy. As Kraft plays the ball forward and it rolls out for a goal kick. 1 or 2 times we've seen that already in this game for Newcastle. Still haven't made that change, West Ham. They do have a goal kick, but they're not going to change it just yet. Speaking of substitutions, West Ham have the least of any Premier League side. They've used the least amount of substitutions this season, which is actually credit to David Moyes, the fact that he's kept this side sitting in your European spots with a combination of intense European football on the way through. Really well worked by David Moyes this season to manage the squad as he has. Well, we're going to have significant additional time towards the end of this first half with 2 minutes to go of 45, but we will have significant added time. So here comes Newcastle again. Anything can still happen before the end of the half. As West Ham failed to clear it convincingly. Guimaraes, Isak with a snapshot. Guimaraes back involved, taken down, felt he was fouled. The referee said no, and West Ham come away with it and win a throw-in. But more hopeful than anything of that penalty shout by Newcastle. Yeah, that's not a penalty. Souček stepping in, does well, wins the ball, but doesn't take the man out initially. That's not a penalty. Fair challenge, I would say, and Antonio there inside a Newcastle sandwich and gets himself a free kick. Here's Kurt Zuma. Zuma breaking down the left. Emerson back in field to Paquetá. Linking up with Bowen. 1-2. No, link up with Kudus. Actually caught Bowen out. Wasn't expecting the ball back straight away. And West Ham a bit lax there as they lost the ball. And now Newcastle trying to spring a counter. But Mavropanos there to try and clear it away. Gordon intercepting to win it back. Guimaraes. Spread out to the right. Here's Jacob Murphy with space to run onto. Murphy with a cross. Isak was lurking and Mavropanos had to stretch the acrobatic clearance there to get West Ham out of trouble. As Antonio holds the ball up well. Tries to get West Ham on the break. Here comes Kudus down the left-hand side. Breaks into the box. Mohamed Kudus gets to the byline. Chips it back across. No one there to meet it. But here comes Paquetá to lift it. Paquetá tried to force it through and Newcastle clear their lines. 10 added minutes at the end of the half. Significant added time indeed at the end of the 45. So still another 10 minutes to play with those extreme amount of stoppages we've seen in this first half. Here come Newcastle with Isak. Down the right hand side is Murphy. Murphy threads the ball through, plays it across, and the run from Sean Longstaff late into the box. Forced a save out of Areola with his shots. Oh, collision there. Paquetá and Gordon this time. Gordon's gone down. The referee's just stopped the game to see what the issue is here. Anthony Gordon's down and Paquetá straight back to his feet. See this again. Paquetá. Yeah, he slips, Lucas Paquetá. I mean, there's not much he can do there. The ball's well away, but he can't really do much about that. I'm just seeing that acrobatic clearance from Mavropanos, from earlier. The cross from Murphy is pinpoint, lurking towards the head of Isak, and the stretched leg from Mavropanos facing his own goal to clear it away that is some clearance. Fantastic. Newcastle likes to get the free kick from this position, which I'm shocked at, because Paquetá slipped. He was out of control. There was nothing he could do about that. And he just, unfortunately, collided with Gordon. But Newcastle get the free kick. Here is right-footed delivery by Gordon. Back post. Just bounced inside the 6-yard box and out for a goal kick to West Ham. Evaded everyone in there. And just to confirm, Areola is still on the pitch, by the way. They haven't made that substitution, West Ham, for goalkeeper-wise. I think they're just probably going to wait to half-time, it seems. But Areola, funnily enough, is not taking the goal kicks anymore. It's Mavropanos taking the goal kicks, so that must be the issue. Don't want to test them too much from those kicks to try and, in case they do, affect any sort of muscle in Areola's leg, which probably seems to be the issue at the moment. As Newcastle win it back again from West Ham, can't keep the ball for more than a couple of seconds at the moment. As here comes Willock with a shot from distance, but it's a tame one towards Areola. And I think Newcastle will likely take more risks now, knowing that Areola isn't at his highest kind of physical ability at this moment in time. Clearly dealing with an issue of some sort. So maybe Newcastle will want to exploit that as much as possible before half-time, when he probably will be taken off. Here's Gordon. Down the left, trying to thread it through for Isak. Well covered by Soucek. And Soucek does well to scoop it away from Isak and out for the West Ham throw. And don't forget, it's not just domestic action we have on LFS over the next few weeks. European football, the quarterfinals of Europe's biggest competitions, the Champions League, Europa League, and the Conference League as well. Do watch it. All the action here on LFS over the next few weeks. As West Ham on the break here. Paquetá beats off a challenge. In the second one, goes down. Bowen dispossessed. The referee said no foul on Paquetá. Fair challenge as Newcastle spring a counter of their own. Here's Gordon. Isak in the middle. Anthony Gordon wants to go himself, it seems. Gordon blocked by Sofal. Guimaraes keeps it alive. Here's Murphy. Back to Guimaraes. Hit the crossbar. Banged off the crossbar, that shot from Guimaraes. He's now caught in possession as West Ham trying to spring a counter of their own. Here comes Kudus. Naughty little feet. Here comes Kudus. Skips away from his man. Kudus goes down. Last man challenge? No, Rob Jones said it was a fair challenge. End-to-end stuff here at St James's Park. That was naughty stuff from Mohamed Kudus on the counter-attack. Cute little feet. Beautiful. This referee, well controlled at the moment. Frantic end to this half, it seems it might be. Here's Sean Longstaff, played it across. Only find Jared Bowen as that half clearance. As Newcastle trying to stride their way towards the West Ham box, but West Ham get in their way, and here comes Paquetá to break on the counter. Swept away by Antonio, finds Bowen down the right hand side. Bowen on his own at the moment, Antonio in the middle. Bowen on the challenge there from Livramento, who did well to stay with Jared Bowen, puts it out for the corner to West Ham. And we get a bit of a breather from a frantic end-to-end last minute or so. It all started off with that Bruno Guimaraes crossbar whack. Yeah, that's a fantastic challenge. That's not last man. Moyes isn't happy as the corner comes in short. Back post, headed across. Bouncing around, and it's headed over the bar. Keeper had come for that one, and Paquetá heads it over. It's one of these games where a goal can come from absolutely nothing. Those are the best types of games. And both battling for control. At the moment, and David Moyes wasn't happy with that initial decision, thought it was a last man challenge by Dan Burn on Mohamed Kudus, but I think Dan Burn defended it really, really well. There's not much he really could have done, but he did really, really well in denying any sort of chance for Kudus to carry the ball forward. He took the ball away, and that's exactly what he needed to do. Newcastle when that throw in. Well, one man to keep an eye on. Maybe not for the first half. For the second half, definitely Jared Bowen. He's been an absolute talisman for West Ham this season from different positions as well. It's been in a mix of centre forward and right wing, and a bit deeper as well at times. He's been a real talisman for the Hammers this campaign, and is repaying by firing a vast amount of goals in so far this campaign. Of course, only 4 players have more Premier League goals than Jared Bowen this season. Haaland, Watkins, Salah and Solanke. Jared Bowen on 14 Premier League goals this campaign. A formidable tally there for the West Ham man. Newcastle have a man inside the top 10. Alexander Isak on 13 Premier League goals. Ready on the score sheet today, Isak. I'm wondering if that's been updated or whether that's the pre-kickoff stat. Free kick taken quickly from West Ham! And they've sprung a goal from nothing. I said it could happen. This is a type of game that a goal can come from absolutely nowhere. And Newcastle have gone from leading in the game, and West Ham have turned it on its head just at the edge of half-time. Newcastle 1, West Ham 2. And they took the free kick quickly, which caught everyone out. Well, there's a man down for Newcastle. I don't know what's happened here. We were watching a replay. I was talking about Alexander Isak's goal tally. West Ham get a free kick. The ball stopped. And Paquetá is just eyeing up a quick free kick. The referee allows it. He walks over, but he allows the free kick to happen. The ball stopped. And the ball comes forward. Bowen holds it up. Cuts it back to Kudus, who runs onto it sweetly. And all of the Newcastle players are at 6s and 7s, completely dazed. Not having a single clue what is going on. And that is as smart can be from West Ham. Newcastle can complain and be annoyed, but that is doing the dark arts of the game, and that is doing it to the highest order. Newcastle will not be happy, but you have to be alert at all times. It's not a surprise that quick free kicks happen. The ball is stopped. It's stationary. The referee has no reason to not allow West Ham to take the free kick. The pullback, there's no doubt about it. It's a free kick to West Ham, no issues. A foul on Mohamed Kudus. Cher went down as well, but that's not a problem. That's nothing to do with the game. The ball was stationary. The referee allows it to go. There's nothing wrong with that from my position. No complaints from me. And the goal does stand because there's no reason for it not to. And from Newcastle, springing an early lead from the penalty spot, West Ham have conjured up a comeback. And in the 10th minute of additional time in the first half, West Ham get themselves in front for the first time this afternoon. Newcastle 1, West Ham United 2, with inside the 12th minute of additional time in this first half. Surely we should be coming to an end fairly shortly in this one. It was just as I was looking up the goal tally. It is 13 Premier League goals for Alexander Isak, 12 before kick-off. So that was the updated version. Mohamed Kudus isn't short of goals himself either. He knows how to find the back of the net. And there's the half-time whistle from Rob Jones, which gets a rising boo from the Newcastle fans. I don't know what they're booing at. Well, they're certainly booing at something. And I'm sure the referee won't be the most popular man inside St James's Park at half-time. But I've no problem with it. We'll talk about it, we'll debate it, we'll chat about it. But in the end, the ball is stationary. West Ham have the free kick. They can take it whenever they want, as long as the referee allows it. The referee allowed it. West Ham took the quick free kick. Newcastle punished for being just a bit too slow, not watching what was going on, a bit dazed, and they found and paid the ultimate price. Half time at St James's Park. We'll analyse the first half in a couple of minutes. Half time, it's Newcastle 1, West Ham United 2.
Catch me if I fall. Catch me if I fall.
Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half time at St James's Park. It is Newcastle United 1, West Ham United 2 at half time. And a controversial, I don't think it's controversial, but some would say it's controversial, goal from West Ham United to take the lead just before half time in the 10th minute of additional time. A very stop-start first half at St James's Park. One of those first halves where it really didn't get flowing at all, and to be honest, it's been one of those games where I expected a goal to come from absolutely nothing, and we've just seen it just before half time. A goal came from absolutely nowhere, and it was in West Ham's favour in the end, and I don't think there's any issues with it. I mean, the Newcastle fans weren't certainly happy, but I mean, they wanted the game to be stopped so Fabian Cher could get a bit of treatment. But, I mean, there was nothing wrong with Fabian Cher. He was fine. West Ham had the free kick. And basically what happened was Cher pulled back on Mohamed Kudus. Kudus went down, felt the pull and was stopped from controlling the ball. Cher then went down because he pulled back Kudus and he kind of collided with him in the process, but that was of his own doing, Fabian Cher. The ball was then stationary, sitting. Everybody was setting up for the free kick. It was all getting ready. The referee was heading over, and then all of a sudden Lucas Paquetá takes the free kick quickly. The referee allows it to happen because it's stopped. The game stopped. It's up to West Ham. It's up to their discretion whether they want to take it quickly or not. Played the ball in behind. Bowen had made the run to the byline, cut it back for an on-running Mohamed Kudus, and Newcastle just sleeping. They were all they weren't at the races at all. They were all concentrating on something completely different. Every single Newcastle player caught out by it, and that's why they get punished for it in the end, which has West Ham ahead. A fairly even first half, I would say. I mean, I wouldn't say that West Ham have been anywhere near their best, but neither have Newcastle. But Newcastle have had more chances, more shots than West Ham, better the possession as well. But I wouldn't say it's one of those games where Newcastle deserve to be well in control of it. It's a stop-start, kind of itty-bitty game, a physical battle, a game of kind of just moments, really. Nothing really fluid, nothing kind of continuous, nothing momentum-wise or kind of continuous in the game. It's a bit stop-start, it's a bit kind of highlight reel type of game where it's moments. But other than that, it's been a fairly even first half, I would say. I wouldn't be complaining if I was Newcastle. I don't think you deserve to be fully well ahead in the game, but I do think West Ham at least deserve a goal, and they used their own smart ideas to get the second goal. And that's why they lead by 2-1 at half-time. We'll look at the table. We'll also look ahead to this weekend's games as well in a moment. But let's have a look at the stats. Let's check on the stats from that first half. Newcastle had 63% possession, so dominated the ball, to West Ham's 37%. 12 shots for Newcastle, 6 for West Ham. 4 on target for Newcastle, 3 on target for West Ham. West Ham had more corners, 2 corners to Newcastle's 1. Newcastle had 2 big chances, which they missed 1 of, and West Ham have 1 big chance, which they took. In terms of passes, 271 passes for Newcastle, which 83% were accurate. 160 passes for West Ham, 73% accurate on that front. The XG in the first half, 1.43 for Newcastle, 0.90 for West Ham. So, on the balance of things, it should be at least 1-1 in the game based on XG. And that smart play from West Ham has them ahead at the break. That's where we stand at half-time here. 9 other games to bring you this weekend. Bournemouth against Everton at 3. Burnley host ahead to Chelsea at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Let's just run you through those and give a bit of details on them. Bournemouth at the moment in mid-table. 35 points, a good 14 points clear relegation. They're firmly okay this season. Everton, very much not though. They're only 4 points clear relegation, but they do have a game in hand on the teams in and around them. 3 points would be huge for Everton this afternoon on the south coast. Chelsea face Burnley at 3 as well. Chelsea, as it stands, if they win that game, they would go, depending on how much they win, they could go above Brighton today if they win by a significant margin this afternoon before Brighton play tomorrow against Liverpool. Burnley, on the other hand, well, they're second bottom in the league. If they win this afternoon, Burnley against Chelsea, they could find themselves within a point of Forest while Forest are playing this afternoon, and Luton. So it could be a very tight fight. And when we're thinking about just a few weeks ago, Burnley had found themselves well adrift and thought that they were almost certain to be relegated. With 9 games to go, they're only 4 points behind Forest, 5 points off safety. It's not impossible. It's not that it hasn't been done before. It's very rare that it gets done, but it has not been an impossible job. Forest have Crystal Palace at home at 3 as well. Forest, if they win this afternoon, they would need a win to escape the relegation zone this afternoon, depending on what happens against in the Luton game. If Luton beats Spurs, Forest cannot escape the drop zone today. But Forest, if they win, they would go on 24 points and would be a point behind Everton, depending on their game. And Luton depending on their game as well. Palace, they're a bit ahead of that. They want to drag themselves away from the relegation battle. If they win this afternoon, they will be a good 12 points clear of Forest. They would jump closer to Bournemouth on that front. Sheffield United, they're rock bottom. They need a win if they're going to have any hopes of staying in the league this season. They win against Fulham this afternoon. They'll be level on points with Burnley on the same number of games before on 29. Fulham, well, they're looking to try and maybe have an outside push at Europe. If they win this afternoon, they could find themselves in the top half as well. Away at Sheffield United. Sheffield United not particularly in good form. What a shock. Spurs, they are in the race for Champions League at the moment. 5th place, Spurs, 3 points behind Aston Villa. Of course, Aston Villa play at 5:30, but Spurs do have that game in hand over Villa. If they win this afternoon, Spurs, they will go level on points with Villa, and if they win by 2 goals or more, they will go above Villa before Aston Villa play tonight. If Luton beat Spurs, Luton could find themselves within question of Everton, depending on Everton's result at Bournemouth as well. So a lot of permutations at the bottom in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Villa against Wolves at 5:30. Villa could find themselves within 4 points of Manchester City before they play tomorrow, but of course City have a game in hand and are yet to play this weekend, so still a big distance there. Wolves, they have an outside push for Europe. If they win at Villa Park, they're on 41 points. And then tonight, Brentford against Manchester United before the title race games tomorrow, Liverpool, Brighton and Man City, Arsenal. For you. Let's just have a look at the table then and how it stands at this moment in time. This is, I think this is as we are at this moment in time. It is, yes. So this is where we stand at this moment in time, live at this moment, with West Ham beating Newcastle by 2-1. So Arsenal are still top of the Premier League. They led the way towards the to the international break after Liverpool and Manchester City drew before the international break. Their last Premier League fixture before the international break back on the 10th of March. 3 weeks ago now, a long time ago now. Arsenal top on 64, ahead of Liverpool also on 64, only on goal difference. City coming third on 63, so a very tight title race. Villa in 4th on 56. Spurs on 53 and 5th on the chase. Man United on the chase with Spurs trying to get themselves back into the question on 47. West Ham would join Man United on 47 with a win this afternoon, but of course Man United still to play this weekend and do have a game in hand on West Ham. Brighton also have a game in hand and still to play this weekend on West Ham, and they're only 5 points behind the Hammers, with the Hammers winning at the moment as well. Wolves on 41 and Newcastle, who are losing at the moment, on 40 as it stands. To the bottom, and it's more complicated, Chelsea and Fulham, they can push up the table with positive results, of course, and try and push themselves into that European race for this season. Bournemouth, they're as mid-table can be. I don't think they're going to be pushing for Europe or be threatened by the teams below them at all. So they're in easy street at the moment. They're comfortable heading into their last 10 games of the season. Crystal Palace, they've also 10 games to go, but 29 points, finds them only 8 points clear of safety. It's a good gap, but they want to extend that with more good results this week. Brentford on 29 games, they're on 26 points. They're only 5 points clear of relegation, and Everton have a game in hand on the teams in and around them. If Everton win their game in hand, they can find themselves just a point behind Palace, and they would find themselves firmly clear of the relegation zone. Luton just above the dotted line there, as you can see, on 22 points, which is a fascinating one. And then Forest, who had 4 points deducted from their tally this season, of course, with the breach of financial fair play rules, or financial and profitability rules from the Premier League, on 21 points. Burnley on 17, and Sheffield United on 14. So a tight title race, a tight top race for Europe, and a tight relegation battle. A lot to look forward to. But the second half still to come at St James's Park to look forward to, which is on the way in a moment or two. Do stay with us.
Catch me if I fall.
Welcome back to Premier League Live, the second half from St James's Park on the way in a moment. Don't forget, more Premier League action for you tomorrow as Liverpool take on Brighton in the Premier League for the fight for the title. Liverpool can retake top spot before Arsenal and Man City play at 4:30 tomorrow. If they beat Brighton, or even if they draw with Brighton, they can take top spot for at least a time tomorrow. And then on Monday, after the two Premier League fixtures, we have Championship action as well for you. A lot to look forward to here on LFS over the next few days and over the next week as well. Right, second half should be on the way in just a moment from St James's Park, of course, where it is Newcastle 1, West Ham United 2 at this moment in time, with West Ham getting that goal to take the lead just before half time. And as I said, Newcastle have a good form against West Ham. That's just one of their last 9 against the Hammers in their 4-2 defeat here in August of 2021. West Ham looking to replicate that and get 3 points at St James's Park. Something that only 3 teams have done before them today. Newcastle have lost just 3 times at home this season in the Premier League, and that those 3 defeats at home, if I find them, came against Nottingham Forest, Liverpool, and I can't find the other one. Apologies, I can't find the other one. I'll find it for you, do not worry. I'm still searching through. Where? Liverpool and Forest, definitely. Someone else. Back underway then in this one. Second half, a deficit for Newcastle to try and overturn. I really can't find it. Manchester City. That's what it was. Obviously it was Manchester City. So, Forest, Man City and Liverpool, the only 3 teams to beat Newcastle at home this season in the Premier League. West Ham want to join that small grouping, that small cohort of teams. They hold on to this lead, they will join them. And we will see what the second half has to hold and unfold for you. Remember, as I said, that substitution for West Ham that was coming at half-time, as I expected, the goalkeeper change. Lucas Fabianski has come on, and he has replaced Alphonse Areola at the break. So, an injury issue clearly for the West Ham starting keeper, Areola, which sees him leave the pitch this afternoon after just 55 minutes in the end. It's Newcastle, lovely move by Isak. And had to be headed behind by Emerson from that cross. Positive start for the Magpies. Nettie High's Newcastle off to a firing start. Joe Willock with the cross from the left-hand side, lurking at the back post. I think that was Murphy at the back post, and had to be headed behind by Emerson for the corner. Only Newcastle's second corner of the game. Murphy over to take it. On the left-hand side. Right-footed delivery. Whipped in towards the back post. Away by Soucek. As Kudus uses his head to get it away and rides a challenge. As Kudus escapes with the ball. Could he keep it in play? Did keep it in play. And look at the space here for Bowen. Here's Jared Bowen. One-on-one. Bowen. What a start to the second half. Jared Bowen gives West Ham an extension to their lead. Newcastle absolutely carved open at the back. West Ham could not believe the amount of space that they had. From Newcastle's own corner, West Ham spring on the break. Mohamed Kudus, the architect. Jared Bowen, the finisher. And West Ham lead by 3-1. From the Newcastle corner, Souček with the first head on it. Kudus beats his man to it, uses his head to get away, then beats a second challenge, keeps the ball in play. On the sidelines, Newcastle said it was out, but I think he kept it in. The ball just side-footed towards Jared Bowen, and no one is within anywhere near Jared Bowen. Miles of space in the middle. Newcastle trying to get bodies back, and it's just too little too late as Jared Bowen unleashes one with his right boot into the far left corner, past Martin Dubravka to extend West Ham's lead. Perfect start to the second half for David Moyes' side, who ended the first half with a perfect move. And they now start the second half with a perfect move to give them another goal. And from 1-0 up, Newcastle, they now trail by 3-1. Wowee. Newcastle had a fantastic home record defensively prior to kickoff. Had only conceded 16 goals in their 14 Premier League home games this season. Only 4 teams had a better home defensive record. That was Fulham, Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal. Had conceded less at home. They're now on 19. That's around Villa and Spurs levels. And in and around the rest of the league, averaging on that. So they had a good home record in terms of lack of conceding at home, but they've conceded a hatful of goals already. And here come Newcastle to respond. Here's Anthony Gordon. Oh, just slipped it. He was looking to cross it. And West Ham get it away. Souček. Kudus tried to skip past the challenger Murphy. Battling to win it back, Kudus. And West Ham get the bounce of the ball. Here's Kudus. Antonio. Looks to carry the ball with him, and he'll get the throw in here. Mikel Antonio. Certainly not been in one of those games where you could say it's been a calm, relaxed, controlled game. It's been the exact opposite. It's been chaotic from minute one. Fascinating. And a worry for Newcastle, really. 3-1 down, and they have to go for it more, but that opens you up even more to counter-attacking threats from West Ham, which is exactly what West Ham are incredible at. Here come Newcastle down the left, though. Willock plays it across. Gordon lays it off to Longstaff. Longstaff now to Murphy. Jacob Murphy with a left-footed shot. Takes a deflection. Blocked by West Ham. Murphy back in control as Paquetá intercepts. But Guimaraes gets Newcastle back on the ball. Despite now trailing 3-1, Newcastle want to get back on the horse and back within touching distance of West Ham in this game. Well, their last league game before the international break, they trailed by 3-1. In the second half, that was a Chelsea defeat at Stamford Bridge. Did score late on, Newcastle, but it was too little too late, as they lost 3-2 in the end at Stamford Bridge. But as I said, their last home defeat was back on the 13th of January, 2.5 months ago, and that was their last home defeat in the league. Last home defeat at all, actually. And that came against Manchester City. And they lost 3-2 on that occasion, with a last-minute winner from Oscar Bob. And that was around the time they lost back-to-back home games, Newcastle. They've won just one of their last 5 home games. That was the 3-0 win over Wolves. They've drawn against Bournemouth and Luton, and as I said, lost to Man City and Forest. Scarily, they've only had 4 home games this calendar year in the Premier League, Newcastle, which is quite crazy considering we've taken up a quarter of this year already. We're at the end of March. This is only their 5th home game of the of 2024. Here come West Ham on the break again. Here's Bowen. Bowen has space. Time. Takes the shot. Takes a deflection. Will be a West Ham corner. It's a good block by Dan Burn, but necessary indeed. Space down the right hand side for West Ham to run onto. West Ham, from those moments, those positions, those chances, a real massive threat to any team. The cross comes in from Bowen, cleared away. And Kudus did well to battle back and win the ball for Newcastle United. Or sorry, for West Ham United, off Newcastle United. Ball over the top again. Great touch by Paquetá. Deft touch indeed. And Paquetá trying to play the ball forward. Doesn't get the ball where he wants it. I think he took a deflection though. I think he might get a corner here. But there's a Newcastle player down momentarily. Livramento on the floor. So we'll see what happens with this. Might be another injury substitution to come here. Who knows? Looks in some pain, Livramento. Fantastic from Paquetá. It is a corner. Oh, just rolled on the ankle there. Did Livramento. That's what the problem is for him. It's a painful one to take. He's still on the floor. It's a worry for Newcastle again. And if you're the Newcastle manager, Eddie Howe, this day is just not going your way at all. It's been so common this season. Not only do they sometimes get bad results, but they get a double blow of losing players as well in those games, and they've already lost a main man at the back in Jamal Lascelles, who had the captain's armband this afternoon, and now Tino Livramento's just receiving some treatment. So another stoppage here for an injury, and they're going to make a triple substitution, Newcastle anyway in the process. So they are going to bring fresh legs on to try and change this game with around 35 minutes to go. They need something to switch it up. They are losing by 3-1. I'll confirm those substitutions to you in a moment when they happen. At the moment, Livramento is just back to his feet, so we'll see whether he can continue or whether he will just be taken off as a precaution, just to avoid any kind of worse effects for Newcastle in this triple substitution. So Livramento coming off, Miguel Almiron coming on in his place. So Almiron on, Livramento off. Second substitution is going to be Emil Kraft, who came on in the first half. He's going to be replaced. And Joe Willock is also going to make way as well. So a triple substitution. Livramento, Willock and Kraft all coming off. And coming on in their place, Almiron, Anderson and Lewis Hall. So a triple substitution for Newcastle there. It's not often you see the substitute being substituted. But Emil Kraft came on because of an injury. And now he's coming off. Newcastle have to throw caution to the wind, but they have to have a corner to defend first. Bowen over it. James Ward-Prowse in close proximity. If he wants the short option, he does take the short option. Ward-Prowse looked to fizz it across, but blocked at the front, by the first man there. Bowen with a cross as it comes in, and Dubravka came for it. I had a bit more curl in that one. I could have found the net, but it went behind for the goal kick. Dubravka a bit caught in no man's land there with that coming for that cross. Nowhere near it. It's surely not a good feeling there for Emil Kraft, being subbed on in the first half and then coming straight back off in the second. See what these fresh legs can do for Newcastle. Can reignite their hopes of getting back into this game. Here's Guimaraes. Down the right hand side, but just too much in that one from Bruno Guimaraes to find Almiron. And it goes out for the throw into West Ham, deep in their own corner flag, towards their own corner flag. This moment in time. West Ham United, this will be their 13th win of the season, which, considering David Moyes has come under some recent criticism, is a very good number. Only the 6 teams above them in the table have more wins in this season. Man United, Spurs, Villa, City, Liverpool and Arsenal. So they are there on merit. Without doubt. Only lost 9 games this season, which is not a bad return. It's another one where only 6 teams have lost less games this season than West Ham. So it's overall, they're in 7th on merit. Not by any fluke of the imagination. Newcastle have a corner here on the right hand side. It's Lewis Hall to take. Hall with a left footed whipping delivery to the back post. Away by Souček again. He's winning those headers in the box. He always does win those defensive headers for West Ham. Wins the majority of West Ham's defensive headers. That's Kudus. There to intercept. Try and stop Newcastle's attack, but Almiron wins it back. Longstaff can't eke the space. Guimaraes to recycle. First time ball across. Can't cleared. Oh, a bit of a scramble to clear the ball there from West Ham. They do get it away as Antonio looks to feed off for Bowen. Bowen does well to recycle the ball back to Sofal and not risk the counter too quickly. Here is Jared Bowen. Down the line to Antonio on the spin. Does well to hold the ball up, Antonio, but then as he tried to spin away, caught in possession by Elliot Anderson, who picks it up for Newcastle. Finds Lewis Hall on the right hand side. Hall through the middle, finds Longstaff, chops back onto his left boot, looking for options. Finds it forward to Gordon. Gordon trying to play it across. Bowen in the way, but Newcastle still have the ball. Shot from distance from Murphy, but cleared away. Murphy will have another chance on the ball. Guimaraes. Out to the left. Here's Elliot Anderson. Right footed, looking for the delivery. Headed away by Ward-Prowse. Guimaraes, though, gets it back. Gordon. Anderson. Now, Guimaraes tried to go for the chipper, but straight into the hands of Lukasz Fabianski, who gathers for West Ham at ease there. Well, this will be Newcastle's 13th defeat of the season, which would mean they have more defeats than wins this season. 12 wins, 13 defeats if they lose this one. Conceded 51 goals this campaign so far, including the 3 this afternoon, which is a lot more than they did last season, and the whole of last season. And there's still 9 games to come after this for Newcastle. West Ham have it at the back here with Kurt Zouma. Spreads it out to the right, but just a bit too much, asking a bit too much of Vladimir Sofal there. The ball runs out for the throw. As we hit 2 o'clock, we get team news from the 3 o'clockers at the moment. Big games at 3 o'clock for the relegation battle. Of course, we'll update you on everything that happens from today's games in tomorrow's live streams for you. Liverpool, Brighton at 2, and then Man City, Arsenal at 4:30 tomorrow. Newcastle in attack here. Murphy. Lovely link up with Longstaff. Falls back to Bruno Guimaraes. Spreads it for Anthony Gordon. Shot takes a deflection. Zuma up to win the header. Taken down by Guimaraes. Slides to keep it alive. Bouncing around. And oh my goodness. Alexander Isak from literally the 12-yard spot where he scored the opener. Hoofed it wide of the left post quite convincingly there. And it goes out for a goal kick to West Ham. Absolutely gets it all wrong there, Alexander Isak. Frustration from Eddie Howe, but relief probably from David Moyes. West Ham not on a bad run themselves, domestically anyway. Unbeaten in the last 4 Premier League games. Drawn their last 2 at home against Aston Villa and Burnley. Wins over Everton and Brentford before then. Has them in good form. Their only defeat in their last 6 in all competitions came in the Europa League. That knockout stage, that playoff stage. Sorry, the round of 16 first leg. Apologies. The round of 16 first leg against Freiburg away. When it came back convincingly in the second leg to win that. That's their only defeat in the last 6. Newcastle try and come again. I think David Moyes is adding up 1 or 2 changes, a bit of fresh legs to come on to try and help West Ham in their cause here. I think Calvin Phillips is getting ready as the ball comes in from Newcastle away by Zuma. Guimaraes back involved again on the edge of the box, comes into the box. Guimaraes cannot work a space but does squeeze it through. Almiron with a cutback. Oh, what a miss! Sean Longstaff, what's he done there? What is going on? Newcastle have had 2 golden opportunities from literally the penalty spot. They cannot be more central. And they've got time and space and both have went wide of the post. If they want to get back into this game, they need to shoot and hit them on target at least from those positions. Criminal. Criminal from Newcastle United. Longstaff. Oh my goodness me. 2 huge opportunities that have had at least one of them had found the back of the net. Would have reinvigorated, would have got this crowd going. And burst Newcastle in their hopes of coming back into this game. But missing chances like that is criminal at this level. Not only at this level, but at this stage of a game. And in such a position as that. Isak and Longstaff both on the penalty spot and both missing completely. Not hitting the target at all. Awful. Awful. West Ham off the hook, let off the hook twice there. Maybe they will buck up their ideas and not kind of tighten up a bit more defensively. I'm guessing David Moyes will go for that type of approach. Well, they're going to make another change here, Newcastle. Because there's another player down. And it's Miguel Almiron this time. What is going on? Newcastle have got the worst luck in the world. Because they have now lost 3 players in the one game through to injury. Jamal Lascelles off early in the game. Livramento off. And now the third one, the substitute for Livramento, Miguel Almiron, has now been taken off just moments after he came on and Harvey Barnes is on the pitch. Miguel Almiron is on for a grand total of 9 minutes before he had to come off. If I had to count his touches, how many touches did he have? 10 touches. Well, that's not bad in 9 minutes. Wow. Made 2 key passes. He was actually having a good impact on the game before he had to come off there. Which is a big disappointment, big blow for Newcastle. He was helping out. West Ham are readying 2 changes themselves, but Have to wait till the next stoppage in play to make those changes. Oh, goodness me. They must have the worst luck in the world with injuries, Newcastle, this season. It's been ravaging. Rife right through the team. Skimmerreich. Longstaff threaded through the lines. Nice move. And the chip ball from Murphy just goes behind. Goal kick. And now West Ham are going to make a double change. So Antonio is coming off. Mikel Antonio is going to be replaced by Calvin Phillips. So a more defensive approach indeed coming from West Ham here. An extra midfielder to help out. As Antonio gets a round of applause. He levelled the game for West Ham. Got them back in it. With that deft run in behind the defence. Calvin Phillips coming on. He's not had the best start to his West Ham career. That'll not be affected today. Hopefully he will be hoping anyway. In a bad way anyway, at least. I'm just going to make that one sub, West Ham. They were going to make a double, but just decided to make just the one. Already made one in this game. West Ham, of course, with that sub made at half-time. Lucas Fabianski coming on for Alphonse Areola. And the questions really have to be started to be asked. How is there so many players from Newcastle being injured all the time? Injury after injury after injury. It's almost every week they're losing players, Newcastle. And they talk about intensity and pressure and the intensity of football games, but also how quick and how kind of constant the schedule is, how busy the schedule is. That is an impact. But everybody else is the same. Everybody else in the league is having this impact. You know, there are other clubs in the league. I mean, I think Fulham, don't want to scud it, but Fulham, I think, are the only club in the Premier League without an injury at this moment, without a squad injury at all, which is actually quite remarkable, really, considering the pressure. They haven't had the most intense schedule, Fulham, but everybody has having issues. But Newcastle just seem to have it worse than anyone else. Luton, probably their biggest competitor. Luton have 13 injuries. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. 13 injuries. But a lot of clubs have injuries. You know, it's normal with the game, but Newcastle, I don't know where all these injuries are coming from. And it doesn't stop there. They've got more action to come. As I mentioned, more football. Newcastle back in action on Tuesday night when they host Everton here on Tuesday night. That's a 7:30 kickoff. We'll be keeping an eye on that one on Tuesday. And then they're back in action next Saturday at 3 o'clock when they travel to Fulham. Long distance travel from the northeast down to the capital. West Ham, well, they're back in action as well on Tuesday night. They're in action at London Stadium, so a big long trip down to the capital for them back home. And then they head back up north to come back to Wolves in the Black Country next Saturday at 3 o'clock. So intense schedules for both of these two teams over the next week. 3 games in the space of 7 days is intense for both of these two teams, of course, in the next coming week or so. And if injuries are bad as it is, might not get any better, unlikely to get any better with this intense schedule that we have. Well, inside the last 18 minutes or so of this game, Newcastle 1, West Ham United 3. And Newcastle need a goal! Oh, goodness me, what a shot, but a save by Fabianski. They need a goal, Newcastle. They almost had one there with Harvey Barnes at the back post. Fabianski got down well. Had to be sprung into action there. move down the right-hand side. It's just a hopeful ball from Anthony Gordon right across the box, and a really good run by Harvey Barnes, and a nice, terrific shot. See this again. Lovely shot with the left boot, but a good save by Fabianski to stop that. That's exactly what Newcastle need, a goal to get themselves back into this game and set up a grandstand finish. There's still more than enough time as they come forward again. Zuma, a bit panicky there, Kurt Zuma, as he hoofed the ball clear, but his goalkeeper was coming for it. But no risks taken by the West Ham captain there. As Newcastle take their throw in quickly. Ball down the right hand side. Murphy. Forward to Gordon. Gordon with a cross, back post again. Here's Harvey Barnes again. Big save by Fabianski. He's bouncing around. Fabianski scrambles it. Goodness me. It's a real scramble still going in the box. West Ham cannot get it cleared. And they eventually get it away behind for the goal kick. My goodness me. Everybody was throwing their pennies worth in there. Have to see a replay of this because it's an absolute wondrous scramble. Barnes has the shot. Fabianski saves it. Comes back out to Guimaraes. It's then scrambled down towards the ground. Fabianski clears it. And then there's a bit of a hint of maybe a... That's not a penalty. Oh, well. Actually, maybe it could be. Seeing the replay of it. Oh, that could be a penalty here. Calvin Phillips. Oh, his luck doesn't change either, does it? Anthony Gordon going to try and reach for the ball, and Calvin Phillips kind of kicks towards Anthony Gordon. Yeah, it's very similar to the penalty Newcastle were given at the start of the game. Doesn't know his man is coming, and he just kicks right through it. There has to be a penalty. Doesn't get any of the ball, Calvin Phillips. And the review will come. So Rob Jones will go to the screen. And he will come and make his own decision, his own judgment. And it's unlikely, very rare, that the referee gets called to the screen and he sticks for the on-field decision. So it looks more likely that Newcastle will get a penalty here. And I would say that it will be a fair reflection. It's just a frantic scramble. And Phillips just takes a heavy touch. It's whether Phillips is in control of the ball as well. He does make contact, but whether he's in control of the ball is another matter. And whether Anthony Gordon impedes him. That's the question. There's no doubt about contact. There's clear contact. But it's whether Calvin Phillips actually had control of the ball. The referee's made his decision, and he has decided a penalty to Newcastle. Calvin Phillips' luck is not changing whatsoever. And Anthony Gordon, a wry smile on his face. Phillips claiming his innocence to the referee. The referee will explain to him. But this is another big decision in the game. And this could be a lifeline for Newcastle United. I think it's a fair decision by the referee. I think it's the correct one. I think it was a penalty. Harsh, but a penalty is a penalty. The referee gave the first one. He has to give the second one. It's almost identical to the fact that they're both going for the ball and they kick through the man to get the ball. It's fair. Isak again from the 12-yard spot. He's already put a penalty past one West Ham keeper. Can he make it two? Fabianski cannot save it. Isak slots it 3-2. And Fabianski dives the wrong way. Isak goes the opposite corner. And West Ham United's lead has been cut to just one goal now. And Newcastle are on the verge. They have reignited themselves from the spot again. It's Isak from the 12-yard spot to get them back into this game. And it is 3-2. And it is most certainly game on at St James's Park. And it's now 13 minutes or so plus additional time, which we will get a bit of because of that stoppage, for Newcastle to conjure up a comeback. It's now West Ham's turn to respond, and whether they can regain a 2-goal lead, because for the last 10 minutes or so it's been majority Newcastle on the attack. Very few and far between those West Ham attacks, and that ball across couldn't be taken down by Sofal and goes out for a Newcastle throw. Newcastle, if they do come back, it will be some comeback, losing so many players through injury. Everything seems to be going against them, and they're fighting against it at the moment. Here they come again. Here's Anthony Gordon, the cutback. Isak was there but couldn't get the correct contact on it to try and carry it forward. He's on a hat-trick now, Isak, remember. The move down the left-hand side. They look a real threat now, Newcastle, with that overlap. Lewis Hall with a cutback. And then Isak just couldn't connect with it cleanly to try and force it home, but close again. Might need another penalty if he wants another goal. Alexander Isak. And the crowd at St James's Park trying to help their side over the line to get them to complete this comeback. As Newcastle inside the West Ham half almost exclusively at the moment. Good challenge by Phillips though to beat past Gordon. As Kudus tries to ride a challenge, does well. Lovely feet by Kudus again as he's pulled back there by Anthony Gordon. And the referee takes no time at all to pull out the yellow card. And West Ham will have a free kick, and Anthony Gordon will be in the referee's book for that pullback on Mohamed Kudus, who made him look a real fool with his lovely footwork there from Mohamed Kudus. So Gordon in the book. And David Moyes has just been booked for his kind of complaints on the sidelines. David Moyes. Frustration there. He gets a booking for it. So he's joined a couple of players in the book. That free kick is awful. Floated right up the middle, and it's almost like West Ham wanted to surrender the ball there. That was an awful free kick by Kurt Zouma. Now it's the pressure, having about 10 minutes ago been all piled upon Newcastle. It's all piling upon West Ham. The pressure of having to stay ahead, having to hold on, to cling on to this lead that they have. Newcastle, can they do it? Here they come again. Murphy, deep cross in. Easily caught there by Fabianski. No major threat from that. Fabianski with a long kick into the last 10 minutes in St James's Park. It is Newcastle 2, West Ham United 3. These two have played some big hitters before. 2-2 draw at the London Stadium back in October of last year. In April of last season, 5-1 winners Newcastle were against West Ham at the London Stadium. West Ham beat Newcastle here 4-2 on August 2021. That was their last win against Newcastle West Ham. West Ham trying to flood it into the 18-yard box of Newcastle and trying to apply the pressure. Look at that high press from Bowen. Doesn't work out. Newcastle get the throw in. Newcastle's last home win against West Ham came in April of 2021 when they won by 3-2. 82 82nd minute winner. Here they are. Through the middle. It's through the legs and in the net. 1-on-1. Harvey Barnes. And Newcastle are back level. From depths and despair of 3-1 down, West Ham have faltered their 2-goal lead completely. And Newcastle are all the way back. 3-3 and level terms restored. Harvey Barnes, one ball through the middle, completely opens up West Ham. And they got their equaliser, West Ham, from a poor defensive error when they played when they were played onside, and West Ham beaten at their own game, beaten on the offside trap, and Harvey Barnes made the run in behind, 1-on-1 with Fabianski, and just side-footed it with his right foot through the legs of the West Ham keeper and into the back of the nets. Celebrations from the Newcastle bench and the crowd inside St James's Park. Despair on the face of David Moyes, who's seen his side take a 3-1 lead from 1-0 down and hand it all the way back to Newcastle. 3-3, and we're not ruling out a winner. That would be some story if Newcastle do, from 2 goals down, come back and win the game. Wow. Goals galore. It's what you love, a thriller in the Premier League. And now Newcastle have the bit between their teeth. They have the momentum in their favour, and with 6 minutes plus additional time, a winner is most certainly not out of the question. Bit of head tennis going on as Newcastle bring it down and instantly want to spring on the attack. Here's Harvey Barnes again. Through to Isak. Isak beats a pass one. Gets down the right hand side, finds Murphy, takes a deflection with a cross, and it's cleared away by Konstantinos Mavropanos, but Newcastle comes straight back at West Ham. Here's Murphy. Now Longstaff, back to Guimaraes. Across to Murphy again. Waiting for the right opportunity. Murphy beats past Ben Johnson, who's just on the pitch, and Zuma has to clear it away for the throw-in. Zuma's trying to get his side going. The Newcastle fans getting their side going. West Ham faltered their lead and could falter. A chance here. Oh, goodness me, what a cross from Sean Longstaff, and Harvey Barnes was again at the back post. Just couldn't tap it in this time. Fizzed across beautifully by Sean Longstaff, and at the back post, Harvey Barnes was waiting and was sliding in, but just couldn't reach it. Inches away from turning this on its head completely. What an exhilarating end to this game. When West Ham looked like they were comfortable, looked like they were in control, looked like everything was going against Newcastle in the end. Newcastle fought back and are on even terms, on an even footing, heading into the dying seconds and moments of this game. 3-3, and most certainly time for either side to win it, really, but Newcastle have the momentum, and you never know, a counter-attack could be sprung from West Ham. You never know, anything can happen. Here's Guimaraes. Barnes. Guimaraes again, shoots from distance, body on the line there from Calvin Phillips to block the shot from Guimaraes, and the clearance straight back to Newcastle feet. And here they come again. Longstaff. Now Murphy chops back on his man. Murphy takes him on again, gets to the byline, cuts it across a bit too high, and that will allow Kudus to just steal it away and take his time to try and get it away, but he's beaten off the ball. Here's Barnes. And the referee's blown the whistle in the end. And a
bit of pushing and shoving, a bit of a scuffle there between Harvey Barnes and Vladimir Sofal. The referee just there to break it up. The passion flowing through the Newcastle team. Well, Newcastle have the second least amount of points from losing positions this season. Only 3 points. Only Burnley have picked up less points from losing positions this season. But at the moment, they're going to pick up one. They might even pick up more than that if they can get the winner. Fabianski with a goal kick. Ball comes clear, and Newcastle trying to control it. In there to nick it away is Kudus, but the deflection takes it onto a Newcastle foot. And here's Longstaff. Murphy. Now Gordon takes the ball with him. Look at this run from Gordon. Anthony Gordon. Shot is over the bar. But that was a determined run from Anthony Gordon, which gets a right responsive applause from the St James's Park crowd. Anthony Gordon showing real desire there. And it's despite only 90 seconds of the 90 minutes to go. It's going to be 8 added minutes, we believe. Get confirmation of that in a moment. But there's still a long, long way to go before the final whistle is blown in this game. Gordon with a throw-in. Chested down by Isak. Round the corner. Sofal to intercept. Kudus to carry West Ham on the break. Here they come. Here's Kudus. Finds Bowen. Bowen in the box. Dragged out to the right hand side. Looking to skip past one or two. Does so. Jared Bowen still trying to scramble to ease his way through and plays it across. But goes behind for the goal kick. Good endeavour from Jared Bowen. But too many bodies in the way there from Newcastle to deny him any chance there at a shot on goal. And don't rule out a possible West Ham winner, that's all I'm saying. There's a winner at both ends that could come. Either side could snatch this at the late stages. The dying embers of this cracker in the Premier League. Oh, is it one-on-one chase here with Gordon is Kurt Zouma. Gordon as West Ham flood the bodies back. Newcastle, lovely touch by Barnes. Oh, what a goal! Harvey Barnes has completed the comeback from Newcastle. And what a finish! What a goal! Newcastle, from 3-1 down, have come all the way back and lead by 4-3 on the verge of 90 minutes. Harvey Barnes with 2 wonderful goals to turn it on its head. And from West Ham and a confident 2-goal lead, they now trail at St James's Park. The fire in the bellies of Newcastle when they thought everything was going against them. They fought hard and they have worked their way all the way back into this game. The constant desire to keep the ball, to keep the attack going from Anthony Gordon, keeps it alive, feeds it across to Barnes with a lovely first touch to take it away from his man, and he just sees the bar corner open up, and he just opens up his right boot and follows through, curls it into the bottom corner, and jubilation from around the Newcastle fans and the Newcastle bench. What a comeback. The roof has been lifted off St James's Park. What a comeback. Shake of the head of the new West Ham players. They can't believe it. But what a comeback. How have they done it? Everything seemed going against them with those injuries, and then losing 2 probably preventable goals to West Ham in the game. But that is what heart and fight and desire and willingness to win can get you. No matter how much of a lead you have, victory is never a certainty. And West Ham know that all too well. And we do have 8 additional minutes, by the way. So there may not be this final twist in the tail. I think Newcastle want the winner now. Or want the kind of confirmation that they have won the game within another goal would do that. As they falter a throw in. West Ham have the throw inside their own half. What a game to get us back on the way after the international break. And West Ham are going to make another change. Danny Ings coming on. He's going to replace Vladimir Sofal, so it's now do or die for West Ham. They have to throw a bit more of attacking threat onto the pitch to try and rescue this. Who'd have thought at half-time when West Ham led that when they took a 3-1 lead in the start of the second half that they would be in this position come full-time or come the 94th minute. They would find themselves 4-3 down. I don't even think the most optimistic of Newcastle fans would have said that around 40 minutes ago. Incredible. And Harvey Barnes, when it looked like his substitution was one where it would be a disappointing one for Newcastle, considering that Almiron had just come on the pitch 10 minutes. He had to come off through injury. And Harvey Barnes come on in his place, and you thought, oh, that could be a dangerous one. Disappointed for Newcastle to lose another player, but in the end it's worked out massively in their favour, because he's got the 2 goals that's turned this game from defeat into possible victory for Newcastle. Incredible. Incredible. And Newcastle are just going to make another change here. Actually, what is that? He's actually not been substituted here, Anthony Gordon. He's been sent off. What? For what? Ah, yes. He kicked the ball away. Second yellow card. Fair enough. There we are. So despite Newcastle now leading, they're down to 10 men. What the hell is going on? Second yellow for Anthony Gordon. But here come Newcastle. They're on the brick themselves. This would finish it. A goal here would do it. Guimaraes, oh, just evaded him at the last second. Almost doing the business there, Newcastle, on the break. And just to confirm, Anthony Gordon leaving the pitch from a second yellow. So it's not a straight red card, it's a second yellow. So he's off. But here comes Isak. Alexander Isak. Still working his feet. Cuts it back. Straight into the hands of Fabianski there. Goodness me. It's been one of the most chaotic games we've seen for a while. And that's what this season has been full of. Chaos in the Premier League. You cannot predict anything. Anything at all. There's still another 2.5 minutes plus, probably even more, considering the goal came around the 90th minute. So there's still a lot of time for maybe one more twist in the tail. Remember, after such an intense game here, they're both back in action on Tuesday night. Quick turnaround as Kudus' delivery in. Oh, the header at the back post just went wide from Thomas Souček. And for a moment there, he just maybe thought that West Ham had got the leveller. Chested down by Thomas Souček at the back post. Lovely delivery by Kudus. And chested just to the side netting. The wrong side of the post. Massive opportunity. And not often that Thomas Souček doesn't do the business aerially there, but that moment he didn't. Wow, wait, I think I'm going to have a lie down after this game. It's only the first game of the day. Well, I'm sure the Premier League are rubbing their hands together, hoping that this weekend continues how it started, because it started with an absolute wonderful game. At the moment, a 7-goal thriller comeback. Unbelievable. What a story. As Newcastle have it at the back. Looking to manage this now. Need to be careful. Can't allow West Ham to apply too much pressure. Zuma chests it down. Now tries to get West Ham on the front foot themselves. Here's Paquetá. Can West Ham rescue it? Lay it on. So check. Went up for the challenge and a foul on Dan Burn will give Newcastle a free kick. And that could be one of the last opportunities as we're just about to hit into the 9th minute of added time. So the 8 minutes are up. And we're just a moment or even seconds away from confirmation of a wonderful comeback for Newcastle United. Free kick taken. Goes long, down the line. And it's headers flicked on. Straight onto the hands of Fabianski. Is there one last attack for West Ham here? They've a man down, so bit of stoppage momentarily. Is there one last pop of the ball up to the attack for West Ham? One last opportunity maybe. Fabianski fires it forward. Newcastle won it first through Fabian Schär as they try and carry it away back up the pitch. West Ham need to get it forward and get the ball back. Here they have it back. Can they get it forward? Ben Johnson. It's do or die for West Ham now. Phillips. Now to Paquetá. Paquetá beats his man, chips it into the box. Brought down by Souček. Oh, bouncing around. Kudus couldn't get a touch on it. Ben Johnson keeps it alive. Looking for the cross. Blocked the first time. Still on the attack, West Ham. Emerson. Now to Ben Johnson. Can he get a delivery in? Works it towards the byline. Chips it across. Takes a deflection. Away by Newcastle. And bombed up the pitch. That surely time is running out. The whistle hasn't come yet. Mavropanos pops it up again for West Ham. Up forward. Headed down by Ben Johnson. Paquetá with a delivery. Into the box. A pull down. Kudus tried to scramble it. Missed it completely. Newcastle just getting it anywhere will do. And they have a throw in West Ham. I was expecting the whistle. There is the full-time whistle. Just when Rob Jones gave them a bit of hope that they probably could have had another chance there. But there is the final whistle. What a wonderful game of football at St James's Park. Exhilarating. Chaos from start to finish. And they looked down and out, Newcastle. Looked like a comeback was nigh on impossible. At 3-1 down. They looked like they were going to suffer their 4th home defeat in the league this season. And West Ham are going to join an esteemed group of Forest, Liverpool and Man City who have beaten Newcastle in this ground with a 2-goal lead in the second half. But a comeback of all comebacks for Newcastle in the final 15-20 minutes. Wonderful. A penalty from Isak to reignite them. And a double from Harvey Barnes to turn it from 3-2 down to 4-3 up. Mix in a second yellow card in there in the dying embers. And Newcastle, after seemingly losing 3 key players in the game through injury, and it looked like 3-1 down, losing key players, it was all going against them today. But they fought ever so hard to get the 3 points. And that is one of the only times this season that they have come back from losing positions to pick up points. Incredible from Newcastle, who before the day needed a win to reignite their hopes of European places, to try and reignite their chances of a European chase. And 3 points are so desperately wanted and were so desperately needed. And when it is needed most, they stepped up and they delivered. Wonderful game. Wonderful result for Newcastle. And what a way for the Premier League to kick back into action after the final international break of the season. What a way to kickstart the run in. 8 weeks to go till the end of the season. A straight race to the final whistle, to the finish line. And what a way to start on the first shoot of a gun. Newcastle have completed a wonderful comeback against West Ham to take all 3 points from David Moyes' Hammers. Final score from the St James's Park after 110 minutes of football over the two halves. It is Newcastle United 4, West Ham United 3. Wow, what an end to the game. Newcastle winning by 4-3, and if it's whetted your appetite for Premier League football again, don't forget there's more tomorrow. A double header tomorrow in the fight for the title as Liverpool host Brighton at 2 o'clock as they look to retake top spot. Liverpool, if they can beat Brighton or even get a draw out of Brighton tomorrow, Liverpool will retake top spot before Man City and Arsenal battle it out at the Etihad at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. And that is just the beginning. That is incredible. What a result for Newcastle. What will the rest of the day have to offer? You will have to wait and see. We'll see you tomorrow and our first game at Anfield between Liverpool and Brighton. But for now, have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye.